Hello everyone, welcome back to Jim's Garage Toys. In this video I am going to be going through how I clean and prepped some of the parts on my wife's 2010 Prius. For any of you Prius owners out there, you will understand that the EGR system is extremely crucial on the Prius, especially from 2010 through 2015 on the third gen, to keep clean and maintain that. If you don't, and you let the EGR cooler or the intake manifold or the EGR valve get gunked up with too much carbon and debris, you can cause a lot of problems and blow head gaskets and all kinds of other things. So it's really critical that you keep these parts clean and rotate them. So I'm going to go through the steps and the processes that I'm doing. I have two sets of these parts so that I can clean them and have a clean set ready to go on. So I can pull the dirty ones off, put the clean ones on, and I'm ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead though and go through the process so you can see what is involved with cleaning these parts. And the critical ones, the most critical, are the EGR cooler and the intake manifold. So with that being said, we'll go through, I'll show you the parts and the process that I did. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this, but this will at least give you a chance to see what I did, and it worked real well. The parts are extremely clean and gunk free now. So but if you find something different, feel free to mention it in the comments, or if you do a different way but it worked, or things that didn't work, please let me know and we can pass it on to other Prius owners. This is not a difficult thing to do once you do it. The first time is a little tricky, getting off the EGR cooler. The intake manifold is very simple, and I've got videos showing how to take these parts off. And I will go ahead and link them in the description. I bought a new EGR, I bought a new intake manifold, and another guy gave me a cooler for it that had already been cleaned. But in this video, I'm going to show you guys how I am going to clean these. And I did this so I can clean them at my leisure and then have them ready to go back on, swap them out, and keep these parts as clean as possible through the duration. Now, one thing I did, the first thing I did here on this, let me show you. So here, you can see a small hole right here. Each intake has one. Those come from the EGR system through this connection right here. And you can even see how that's all gunked up. So I did take some parts cleaner that I picked up from Walmart, and I went ahead and sprayed with the hose, with the little straw, down through every one of these intakes. This one and this one were halfway decent. The last two, though, farthest from the EGR, were gunked up more, so they were almost plugged. So this way, I tried to get some of that stuff out. The cooler, I also sprayed down through. I did look at the cooler. I did look at the cooler and tried to shine a flashlight through it or hold it up to the light in the ceiling, and I got no light. Let's see, I sprayed it. I got no light beforehand. I'm trying to see, and I still got nothing there. So that'll help there. So I have seen much worse, that's for sure. So I think the parts cleaner did help a little bit, but I still can't see any light through it, so it's plugged up in there good enough. So that was the first thing I did. What I'm preparing now is I bought a thing of this right here. Somebody else had recommended this years ago and I bought it. And I dumped literally the whole thing into this bucket right here. So, and I'm going to fill this up high enough with this whole container to literally submerge these two pieces. I'm going to look at the EGR because that has some electronics in it, I believe. So I'm going to look at that before I do anything like that. So anyway, I'm filling this up with water. I'll mix it really good, and this is going to soak. So this was pretty amazing. I just used this to kind of stir this. Look at the color change. Just dunking it in this solution. Oh my gosh, look at that. Well, I think this stuff is going to work really well. That's amazing. Look at that come out from inside there. And that's instantaneous. Wow. So, that is amazing. Okay, I'm gonna leave it right there as I add more water. So this is literally after a few minutes. The cooler itself was looking amazing after just a short time. So I'm very excited to let this soak overnight. So here is my original EGR valve. I did change it out once, and I wasn't 100% sure about taking this apart. I didn't know what was underneath it, but since I've already changed it, I think I'm going to play with that and take this off. So I'm going to take these two screws off and let's see what's underneath here. What can be cleaned and what can't be. Well, just as I said that, I noticed that this tube right here, which I can't see down into, but there's two 10mm bolts right here holding that on. So I'm going to take this off. So if nothing else, I can dunk this into the tank if it's all clogged up in this tube here, and then I can see hopefully the valve in there and get a better idea. It's very interesting to me that the gasket between these two, look at the size of the hole and look at the gasket. That is very, very weird to me, why the gasket doesn't line up with the hole. Seems kind of weird. Not sure why that wouldn't be made to fit perfectly. So, but they didn't do that. Now you can see down into that. So there's the little plunger that activates that right there. And surprisingly enough, that looks really clean in there. And this is really clean on the outside, so it's kind of odd that when I first changed this out, and I'd have to look at the mileage, but gosh, I think that this had 120,000 miles on it when I did that, somewhere around there, that it's not a lot worse, as bad as the cooler was. So, but I'm going to go ahead now and take these Phillips screws off and see if I can figure this out. Hopefully I don't screw it up. But that's how we learn. Well, I'm thinking that maybe they don't want you to get into there. I've never seen Phillips screws so tight. It literally broke the tip of my new, I didn't even use a screwdriver before. It was the first time. So, and then I grabbed another screwdriver and I tried to loosen it, and it started to strip the head of the screw before it would even move. So much for that idea. What I might do, like I said, this looked okay in there. Maybe clean this up. The tube actually doesn't look that bad at all. So, as I am cleaning this EGR cooler, I soaked, the first thing I did is I soaked it in some fuel system cleaner, poured it in, found a little tub that would fill it, got a couple bottles of that, and I filled it in and let it soak overnight. So then rinse that out with some carburetor cleaner, and I bought some oven cleaner from Walmart, and I kind of rigged this little system up. So I used a couple of caliper hangers and hung it, and I found a piece of hose that I could plug this in, and then I pinched the hose off so that it wouldn't drain out of the bottom, and I could fill this up with it. So, and then in between dumping, so I leave this in for an hour and a half, 2 hours, let it work. Then I drain it out, I rinse it with hot water, and then I blow it out with my air compressor. And it seems to be working. I can actually see light through it now, so that's good. So it just slowly, and you can see when I took the hose off last time, you see how dirty it is. So it is working, and as it soaks into and through all the little crevices down in there, I just keep filling it up. So I will let this sit, and I'll rinse again and repeat. So I've done 2 cleanings now with the oven cleaner, and I can see light through there. If you look, you can see light. The angle's got to be just right. But there you go. See the light shining through. So it's really looking a lot better in there. So it's hard to get a good shot with the camera, but it is improving. So I'm planning on doing at least one more. Then we'll see how it is. So I fill it with the oven cleaner. I let it soak. Hour and a half, 2 hours. Then I rinse it out with hot water. Then I blow it out with my air compressor. That's the routine. So after soaking, I just rinsed out the oven cleaner. So then I'll take my blower for my compressor. I still see crud getting blown out of there. So I think I'm going to treat it one more time. It's looking pretty good though. I can actually see light through it quite well now. But I'm going to go ahead and treat it one more time just to get all this final residue out of there. I think it's just a little bit that's still sticking. So we'll do one more treatment. So I'll fill it up with oven cleaner again, and then let that soak for a couple hours, and then rinse it out with hot water, and then I'll blow it out here. We'll see if we're getting all the crud. I want to get it to where I don't see any of this anymore when I blow it out. So It's kind of a good look inside of it. It's really looking much, much better. You can get the nozzle close enough. I wish this had a ability to stick a hose on it, a little straw, kind of like brake fluid and stuff comes with, but it doesn't have that attachment. But if you get it close enough, you can kind of see there, it's filling it up with liquid. And this can has still got a lot in it. So this is my fourth filling of this, and I think it will be my last. It's just getting the final residue in there. And on the bottom of this, like I said, I found a little hose that fit perfect in there to plug it up. I used a clamp on it. You could probably just tape it and stuff also, and that would probably work. Anything to seal off the bottom so that it keeps the oven cleaner inside and let it do its thing. And like I said, this is 2 hour. So I am soaking the intake manifold in water and simple green. I made it warm water to cut it. And then I've got a long narrow brush here, and you can run those down through the small holes that come from the EGR valve there. There we go, just to loosen anything that's in there. Like I said, this is just simple green and water. So, right there. So, just a good degreaser. Break down anything that might be lining the walls of the intake manifold. I want to get those as clean as possible. Feel pretty good that the holes are clean now. The pathway's clean. So, and so once that's done, let that soak for a while, and then rinse that off and let it dry. I did buy new gaskets. Just picked those up today from the dealer, so it'll be all ready to install back on. Here is my EGR cooler. Looking spick and span. Nice and clean on both ends. I can see light through it. And I hold it up. I don't know how much, yeah, there you go, you can kind of, and it's hard to capture it with this, but I can see light through there, so it's clean all the way through. And this last time I didn't get a whole lot of color out of it, and it rinsed out really quick. So I think I've got most of it. So it is ready to install back in. So this was my original one that came with the car, and I got another one. Actually, I came across a guy who had one that had been cleaned, and he had bought another one, but he gave me the one that was cleaned, his original one. So I put that in the car, and now I want to swap it again. So I want to get in the habit of swapping these, I think, every 75,000 miles. I'll take this off, put the new clean one on it, and then put the intake manifold that's been cleaned and dunked and degreased, and put that back in too, so it's all set to go, and we will be in good shape. So the next time I will go ahead and put everything back in. So the biggest thing I wanted to do on this video was show you guys a good way to clean this out. This is like new now. And to clean the intake manifold. The intake manifold is pretty easy. It's more heavy gunk and oil buildup where the EGR cooler is baked in carbon in there. So that's a little tougher. Now I will say, I'm going to be curious to see what happens. This was my original intake manifold, but putting on the secondary one that I bought, since then I've had an oil catch can on the Prius. So it'll be interesting to see if, when I go in and swap this stuff out, what it looks like and how that EGR cooler, or not, I'm sorry, the oil catch can has helped keep this less gunked up. So, but anyway, so hopefully guys that helps for any of you guys that want to do it. And I'm telling you, once you do this once or twice, it really becomes no big deal. It's not that hard, and you can really whip through it and get it done. So hopefully this will help you guys on how to clean these so that you can reuse them, save yourself some time, save yourself a lot of money from paying somebody to do it, or causing a head gasket to go and having to pay somebody to do that. So anyway, with that being said, thank you much, guys. Appreciate it. Hopefully it helps. And if so, please like, subscribe, ring the bell, help me grow my channel. You know the normal routine. And until next time, I'll see you down the road. So here's the intake manifold after soaking it. It is clean as a whistle inside. I flushed everything out with the hose, and even the little small passages, I used compressed air from my air compressor and blew everything out. So it is very, very clean down in there. So this is set to go. I've got the new gaskets for it. So now I am basically set. I've got one superbly clean EGR cooler, and the intake manifold and the EGR valve that I inspected actually looks to be in pretty good shape. So I am going to be in good shape. Now, just one of these days, I'll swap everything out and I'll be ready to go for another 75,000 miles. Thanks for joining me, guys, and I hope that the video that I just shot for you as far as cleaning the EGR cooler and the intake manifold really helps. I just wanted to do a quick follow-up at the end. I tried several different things, and after using them, some things worked better than other things. So I just wanted to give you my 2 cents worth at the end of this. The oven cleaner, I think, cleaned the best. This next time when I go through and clean it, I think I'm just going to go straight to the oven cleaner on the EGR cooler. And I think on the intake manifold, the biggest thing is just cleaning out the grease and stuff. So any good degreaser, like Simple Green, I mean, there's tons of different ones on the market, and any of them will probably work pretty well. Give that a couple, 1 or 2 dunkings with that, let it soak in there, rinse it out. Like I said, I blew it out with my compressor to get anything out of there, and I think either one of those ways will work. But I am curious to find out and from other people of what they used and what worked well. So I hope that you comment and let us know, let other people know, just to help them out, and maybe down the road on the next rotation when I have to clean, that I will try some different things that some of you suggest, and I can compare how that worked with what I did. So anyway, thank you much, guys. We'll see you later.